What's up again, everybody? We've got some huge Dice Masters announcements coming out of the GAMA trade show, so let's take a look at what they've spoiled, what they've released, what they've announced, and see how that fits into the yearly release schedule. Alright, today is March 13th, and in 2 weeks we are scheduled to have the City Slingers OP kit release. The Wizkids solicits page says that 2 weeks from this Wednesday, today, the City Slingers OP kit will be on the market and out there. It's interesting because the slide on the GAMA trade show slideshow that they were showing during their Wizkids event said it was going to release in April, but maybe because that date is so close to the actual start of April, they're just going to release it that week. There are currently no other releases scheduled for the month of April, so you can save up your money for the month of May when we will see the X-Men Forever campaign box alongside of the Dark X-Men team pack and the X-Force team pack as well. And here's some new spoiled cards from those. Please forgive the low res images. I pulled these off of a picture of a slideshow presentation in a bright convention hall, so they're not the best quality. Here's a 5-drop Cyclops that has the Batman ability from the Justice set. It says while Cyclops is active, your X-Men character dice cost 1 less to purchase, and your non-Cyclops X-Men character dice get +1/+1. That is a fun ability, and I like that they have it on a Justice character, and they also have it on an X-Men character. It's kind of one of those that you can just share around and put onto really any affiliation, and it would be fun to mess around with. Here's a really cool one. This is Hope Summers, the 3-drop shield X-Men character. Her ability says when fielded, choose an X-Men character card that is on your team, replacing all previous choices. Hope Summers gains that character's text, but in addition to her own, and she retains that text until she is fielded again, even if she's no longer active. So this is extremely cool because there were all of these interesting abilities on X-Men cards in sets gone by, and even most recently in the X-Men First Class set, that were just barely not impactful enough to justify the cost that they were. But all of a sudden now you just have to put that card onto your team rather than purchasing them, and Hope Summers can just become that for a 3-drop. So this opens up a lot of really interesting abilities that you could play with now that used to be sort of locked behind a high purchased cost character or even a high fielding cost character. Now you have access to that with a 3-drop 2/2. Speaking of high drop characters that are X-Men, here is Rachel Summers, a 7-drop Bolt character. It says when one or more Rachel Summers character dice attack until the end of the turn, when one of your X-Men character dice is KO'd, deal 2 damage to the defending player. So for a 7-drop character, this is a bit expensive for the ability. You have to kind of set it up, and paying 7 for this isn't the most wonderful thing in the world, but if you combine it with the previous card, all of a sudden that's a 3-drop with this ability, and you can sort of ping out your own characters, KO them with a variety of means during the attack step to deal direct damage to the player, which is very, very interesting. And the last one we got is Beast, a 3-drop mask character that says, when Beast attacks, you may pay a mask, and if you do, target opposing character die must block this Beast die. You may pay a mask and perform this effect for each Beast die that attacks. And on the burst face it says, instead, 2 target opposing character dice must block this Beast die. So this is a fun one that reminds me of the old school Beast that was all about blocking or being blocked. I like this ability overall, very thematic from what they've done in the past, and all in all, pretty decent. Also in May, we can expect a new OP kit that was just announced called Marvel Now Heroes. We have no information outside of just the name, I believe, unless something popped up the day that I was making this video, but it's nice to see yet another OP kit make the list. In June, we have the Warhammer 40k Fractures of Biel-Tan set with the Dark Angel team pack and the Blood Angel team pack, and they also revealed 3 new cards from these sets. Let's take a look. Here's Guardian, a 2-drop shield character with a 1/1/2, a 1/2/2, and a 1/3/2 stat line, and just a simple range 1 keyword. He's a max 4, pretty straightforward. We've got a 2-drop Bolt Demonette, or Damonette, I'm not sure how you'd say it, an 0/1/1, 0/2/2, 0/3/2 stat line that says while it's active, sidekick character dice must block. This one's pretty interesting in that it's a low drop that forces your opponent to block with sidekicks, which is great for overcrushing characters. And then we have a basic action, a 3-cost basic action called Recoup that says gain 1 life for each sidekick character die in your field zone. And on the double burst face it says also draw and roll a die. And it has a global, which is a really interesting global. It's like a nerfed version of the PXG, the new school PXG. It says pay 2 once per turn during your turn, field a sidekick from your used pile. So very similar and reminiscent to the new school PXG stuff. And currently in July, we have nothing. In August, we have a newly announced Trouble in Waterdeep campaign box This is the next in the D&D line of Dice Masters. It also comes with the Adventures in Waterdeep team pack and the Zentarum team pack. This was newly spoiled at the trade show, and they showed off 3 new cards and some new keywords. So let's take a look. Xanathar is a 6-drop mask character. It is a evil character with that monster affiliation and some brand new weirdly shaped thingy on there. Anyway, it's an 043054-165. Still got the amazing stat line of the Beholder, and it has a brand new keyword that says Spark. Deal 1 damage to target opponent. And Spark is a keyword that essentially means while this die is active, when you roll a burst face, use the effect at the end of the phase. I'm assuming that that means if you roll it during the roll and reroll step, then you'd use it at the end of the roll and reroll step, or if you roll it during the main step, then you use it during the end of the main step, like if you rolled during your main step and all of a sudden there's the burst face on this action die, boom, at the end of that step is when you trigger Spark. That's a really interesting, really cool ability. You could do that in a lot of different ways. It's not pigeonholed into deal 1 damage to target opponent. That Spark ability could really say anything, like draw and roll a die if you rolled a burst face on an action die or something like that. So Spark is very flexible. It just gives you a new timing window where things can occur. Next we have Volo, a 2-drop bolt character with experience, which is a really fun ability, and the secondary ability is even more fun to me. When you field a character die with experience other than Volo, this character gains an experience token. So this has some really interesting implications both in set and out of set. All of a sudden now you might want to consider bringing something with experience and then just making this a big ol' win condition. Just field up a bunch of stuff that has experience and make this guy huge. And he's a 2-drop, so you can buy a lot of them. And finally we have a Kuotoa. This is a 3-drop fist character. Got a nice 1-1-1-1-2-1-1-2-2 stat line with a new keyword called Obscure. When you use an action die, this character die is unblockable until the end of the turn. It's also got Infiltrate on this version, which is pretty cool, so you can just pop it back so it goes unblocked. You can actually pull it back if you don't want to send it in. So anytime you use an action die, this will go unblocked. You can push with it, and then you can choose to either deal 2 damage or you can pull it back, which is kind of cool. And if that were not enough to be scheduled in August, we also have the WWE Dice Masters campaign box, which also comes with a Tag Teams team pack and a Bitter Rivals team pack. And apparently, there will be a premium playmat option being produced. Now, it's possible that that premium playmat never actually sees the light of day. That's happened before where they've announced a playmat and then it's just never come out. But the fact that they have this listed on their trade show, little slideshow, is very intriguing, very interesting. I'd love to see what they had whipped up or have whipped up. They've also said that this set will not use any artwork, that it's going to use real-life photos, and that can be a turnoff for some people. So we'll see how that actually looks and how it turns out. Here's the picture of the campaign box, though, the not finally approved picture of the campaign box. You can see they didn't even really reveal any of the dice that they have on the side or on the front there. I also want to say that I doubt the release date of this being actually August. They don't even have it listed on their solicits page, so I'm really assuming that this is not making the cut in August and that it's going to be pushed into the future, maybe into September or October, because in September or October, there are no releases scheduled. But in November there is. This past week, Wizkids announced that they are making a Spider-Man team-up campaign box, alongside of a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse team pack, which is pretty sweet. I just saw the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie recently, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So they did announce that they're going to have some Spider-Ham and some Spider-Man Noir and other stuff like that in the team pack, which is pretty sweet. Also of note, they've not announced a second team pack, but that doesn't bother me too much. As long as the cards are fun, I'm fine just buying less stuff and getting good stuff. So we'll see. So there you have it. There is the release schedule for 2019. Let me know what you think of all of these new sets, what you think of these new spoiled cards. Tell me when you think these sets will actually release. Give me a good old release date list down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this video in general and about what we got going on in the world of Dice Masters. And as always, thanks for watching.